strong.
Welcome back to Crypto for Freedom, where we talk about gaining financial freedom through the cryptocurrency markets. All right, today we're going to be looking at Bitcoin a little bit more. I do have some concerns that the top of the market may be very, very close. And we're going to take a look at the Bitcoin 4-year cycles today. So in yellow, I have marked the halving cycles. This green date range bar right here marks from the halving to the peak of the market in the last 2 cycles before this cycle. In the 2017 cycle, the halving occurred July of 2016, and then the peak was 518 days later in December of 2017. For the 2021 cycle, the halving occurred in May of 2020, and 549 days later, the peak was in for the market. Now, I'm a little concerned because for the 2025 cycle, the halving occurred in April of 2024, and we are currently 548 days from the halving, or roughly 548 days from the halving, considering that we saw the peak of the market happen 518 days, 549 days, and potentially 548 days from the halving cycles in each one of Bitcoin's halving cycles. Now, if the top of the market for Bitcoin were to be in October of 2025, that means we should be able to see a great buying opportunity for Bitcoin in 2026. If you take a look at the yellow date range bar marked right here, this is measuring from the peak of the market to the bottom of the next bear market, which you can see the bottom of the market in 2018 happened in December, approximately 365 days from the peak of the market. The bottom of the bear market happened approximately in November of 2022, which was approximately 365 days from the peak. If we're considering that October might be the peak of the market for Bitcoin, that means that there should be a massive buying opportunity next year, 365 days from the peak, which would put the bottom of the bear market roughly in October of 2026. Right over here. Now, I don't know how high Bitcoin is going to go for the rest of this cycle, but I do kind of feel like it's going to come up and make a new all-time high. The reason I believe that is because the 4-year cycle trend is still intact. The trend is your friend until the end, so that until the trend is broken, we should see one more higher high before the end of the cycle here this month. And I do believe that Bitcoin is going to be coming up to potentially around $170 to $180 per coin, possibly this month or next month. We should be seeing the top of the market for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin does end up having a blow off top, we should see the altcoin market outperform Bitcoin. We've seen Bitcoin dominance drop a pretty substantial amount since July of 2025. We've seen Bitcoin dominance drop a good 12%, and that means a lot of money has flooded into the altcoins. Some altcoins have been outperforming, but what I keep saying on this channel is with institutional adoption, Bitcoin ETFs on the stock market, hedge funds, family wealth, all different types of money flowing into Bitcoin now with game theory playing out right before our eyes. It really makes me wonder if we're actually going to even see a full-blown altcoin season this cycle, or if we're going to see more of a muted altcoin season because Bitcoin's really going to steal the show. Who knows? Bitcoin dominance could actually come up and make one more higher high. Yeah, it just seems like things are playing out a lot differently this time than they ever have really in the past. And if we go back to Bitcoin, we can really see that Bitcoin is kind of coming to a moment of truth here, because we're finding resistance at the top of these bull markets back in 2021 here and now over here in 2025. And we're also finding support on an upward sloping trend over here. And you can just see that this is squeezing very, very tight within this pattern here. And Bitcoin's going to have to make a decision soon. Are we going to go up and break out of this pattern and see Bitcoin dominance break up one more time and come up and find a higher high? Or are we going to see Bitcoin fall out of this rising wedge, which is a bearish pattern, and complete the high for the 4 years Bitcoin market cycle and head into a 1 year bear market where we'll eventually find a bottom near October of 2026? And depending how high the market goes really is depending where the price is going to be at the bottom of the bear market. So if Bitcoin does end up coming up to 180K, we could still see a 70 to 75 retracement, which could bring Bitcoin back down to $55,000, which I don't think the price has ever gone below what it was before on inauguration day. So I just don't really see that happening. Sometimes I feel like Bitcoin's going to actually go a lot higher and shock everybody, especially considering that the Fed is continuing to cut rates now. And the last time the Fed really cut rates in a really significant way was back over here in 2020, and Bitcoin went to the moon after that. So are we going to see an extended cycle where the Fed continues to cut rates more and Bitcoin follows global liquidity, breaks out of this rising wedge to the upside, and we see some sort of crazy super cycle where Bitcoin dominance goes to the moon as well, and altcoin season just never really truly materializes in front of us because Bitcoin just has too much power, too much dominance in the market? And, are we going to actually end up seeing a true altcoin season where Dogecoin comes up to make its own all-time high for the cycle, which I do believe is actually very likely, considering that Dogecoin has made a new all-time high in every single one of its market cycles. And if it were not to do so this time, then that would be a break of trend. Now, there is some evidence to suggest that it won't come up and make a new high, but I actually believe it will. And I've been looking at this Doge Bitcoin chart 7-year cycle theory to suggest that Dogecoin is going to continue to lose value against Bitcoin for the next 915 days before it'll finally break out of this downtrend against Bitcoin and go on a bull run in 2029, just like it took 7 years making lower highs and lower lows against Bitcoin, where here was actually the peak of the 2017 market cycle where Dogecoin made a lower high against Bitcoin. And I feel like something could happen very similar to that coming up soon, where Dogecoin against Bitcoin comes up to make a lower high against Bitcoin, and that's where Dogecoin USD will actually come up and make a higher high to make a new market cycle peak and find a new accumulation range in this red box. And, when Doge starts to gain a bunch of value on Bitcoin, that's when we're going to see, it only costs you 275,000 Doge for one Bitcoin, where right now it costs you 488,000 Doge for one Bitcoin. So you can just clearly see in the charts that Bitcoin has well outperformed Dogecoin in this market cycle. And I'm really curious to see, what is going to actually end up happening with Bitcoin dominance, with Bitcoin, with Dogecoin, with the rest of the altcoin market. Are we actually going to see this, blow off top for the total cryptocurrency market cap, which, appears to be very, very close to its all-time high right now? I think it might have made a new all-time high last night. Yeah, see, it made a new all-time high last night. Cryptocurrency total market cap came up to $4.24 trillion. And I'm kind of predicting that we're going to see a blow off top here for the total cryptocurrency market cap to bring the total market cap up to 9 to 10 trillion dollars. Yeah, to bring the total cryptocurrency market cap up to 9 or 10 trillion dollars, up to the top of this rising wedge. And then that's where we're going to see the bear market and see most cryptocurrencies drop 90%, fall out of this rising wedge. Yeah, that's going to be where the bear market is just in full force, you guys. And until then, you're going to want to be, working your butt off, you guys. Just really working hard to save extra money, saving up for your emergency fund, finding extra side hustles to bring in more income. That way you can, save more in your emergency fund and put more into your investments. And, really put in that extra work over the next year as, Bitcoin starts to fade into its bear market to eventually come down and find a low in October. That's where we're going to load up again on Bitcoin with all of our money that we've been saving and all of our profits that we're going to be taking over the next month or two here to, rebuy back into Bitcoin, and then hopefully come up and see, another 5 to 10x from the bottom of that market, which we could see. I mean, okay, let's just examine and see if this was the market cycle top. If this was the market cycle top right here in October of 2025 at 125,700, I think it was last night, and Bitcoin goes down. Well, it went down, I think, 76% last cycle. Let's see, we have diminishing losses as well. So Bitcoin goes down 70%. That could bring Bitcoin down to $36,000 by October of next year. And then if we're able to see a 5 to 10x from there, we would see Bitcoin come up to, a 5x would be, Bitcoin would be coming up to around 225K, and a 10x, Bitcoin would come up to $453,000, potentially by 548 days past the halving. So that means by September of 2029, we could be seeing a $450,000 Bitcoin. So you guys, you still have an opportunity to stack Bitcoin. We're going to be seeing another bear market. The price is going to do something like this again. And who knows, maybe we'll see an all-time high before the halving again and then see another pullback. But you know what? These markets don't really like to repeat. So we should see something different next time. But if you take a look at the trend, you can see that this downward sloping resistance ends up breaking out and then retesting before it goes up. You can see that happened again here. It broke out, retested, and then went up. But the only difference was we just had a slightly higher high before the halving this time, but we still ended up seeing that pull back past the halving to retest that as support and then go up from there. And it just seems like this market cycle is almost over, you guys. I know this is a little bit longer video today, and if you guys like these longer videos and you stuck around to the end, put a watermelon or something in the comments and leave all your thoughts in below. Are we going to see a super cycle here moving into 2026 with some crazy run for Bitcoin and the altcoins? Or is this going to be the top of the market here in October of 2025 and we're going to see a 1-year bear market over the next 1 year? I just wanted to point out this quick fact, you guys. I've been posting a video on my channel every single day for the last 16 days, and my channel got 14,431 views, getting me a total of 425.9 hours of watch time. I just think this is a really incredible stat, you guys. So thank you so much for showing up to my videos to watch. And thank you so much for commenting and liking the videos. Appreciate everybody Also, you can see that 85.4% of my viewers are not subscribed. So if you guys are finding value and entertainment in the content, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to go check out my links below in the playlist, and check out all my other videos in the playlist. And just remember that none of this is financial advice. Make sure to do all of your own research. Never invest more than you can afford to lose. And we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.